you're having a wonderful day today. This is your host today. My name is Carl. I'm from the Classic Kalo Star Classic Entertainment channel here on YouTube. I'm so glad you joined me again. And what I'm doing today is I am continuing or starting a series on Broadway plays or musicals that went to film and some of the controversy around the characters moving to film. And today we're going to be talking about Mame. Mame, the musical starring Lucille Ball and its migration and some of the controversies there. So let's just get it kick started by talking about this wonderful and very classic play, Auntie Mame. Auntie Mame was based on a book by Patrick Dennis, a novel that he wrote about his aunt, a true story that he wrote about his aunt. And it was adapted into a 1958 Broadway play starring the great Rosalind Russell on Broadway. The original cast was a play, and it also included Peggy Cass in the role of Agnes Gooch. So it started as a Broadway play. Now, what happened was that particular version of Auntie Mame, the play, went on to become a movie, and it brought on some of the same characters. And that's some of the controversy that I'm talking about. Many times when there are great plays on Broadway, whenever it transfers to film, they don't always go with the original Broadway characters. Broadway characters are very good characters. They do the roles very well, but they're not usually very well known when it comes to the entertainment. They always like to have a big name. But if it is an irreparable character where you have just really made the role completely yourself and it is a part of you, you tend to always take that to film. And that was the case for Rosalind Russell, who was dynamic in both the Broadway play and the film adaptation. It went to film and was a very successful film. Rosalind Russell received an Academy Award nomination for that. She didn't win the Academy Award, but she won the Golden Globe. And Peggy Cass, who was the original Agnes Gooch, she was also nominated for an Academy Award, but she didn't win. So there's always controversy about when it goes from Broadway to film. So that leads me to the musical version of Mame, which is some of the same thing. Now, there wasn't, the musical version was an adaptation from the play. So they wanted to add music to it, and so that's when it was adapted into a play, and then we bring in Angela Lansbury into the picture here. Now, when it came time for producer Jerry Herman to create this into a musical, there were several names that were pitched out. Herman wanted first the great Mary Martin to play the part, but she turned the role down. And then they wanted to do Judy Garland. Jerry Herman wanted to get Judy Garland, but it was declined by the producers of the show because, Judy had this reputation of not showing up. She was always a high insurance risk to everyone, and they just didn't want to take that risk. So the role went to Angela Lansbury. And yes, Angela Lansbury is known as the first Mame of the musical version of Mame in the 1966 production on Broadway. So this is where the controversy begins whenever it goes to film. So it is now time for the musical version of Mame, not the play. The play's already been adapted to film. So now the musical version of Mame that Angela Lansbury starred is now going to become a musical motion picture. Okay, so this is when we start to see some things and the controversy start. But before I talk about that, let's just talk about all the people that have played Mame in touring companies. I'm talking about the Broadway version in touring companies all around the country, excuse me. Everybody wanted to play this role. We've had like Celeste Holmes, Susan Haywood, Janet Blair, Ginger Rogers. They have all played Mame. A lot of people have played Mame, and then in the role of Vera excuse me, the role of Vera Charles, we have B. Arthur, who's played the role, Elaine Stritch. These are great actors. So this is a well-renowned musical. So people, when they get their Mame cast, they get kind of particular about who they want to play this role because these are some iconic parts that are being played. So These are all the people that have toured or did revivals of Mame. So then, and Lucy wants to be in this picture as well. So here's Lucille Ball. When you're Lucille Ball, mogul, big time star, you can tend to get your way. When you want something, you want something. But let's just talk about Lucy the star. I love Lucille Ball. There's nothing she's ever been in that I have not loved. I've always loved Lucy in her film career, early film career, even before the comedy. I've always loved Lucille Ball. She's a great actress. But we know from her series, the I Love Lucy series, which we all know, and for you young ones who've never looked at I Love Lucy, go and look at all of the I Love Lucy's. They're great shows. We know that there was a big joke about Lucy not being able to sing, not being able to dance. And it was kind of true to form. She's never been a great singer or a dancer at all. And many times in most of the movies that she did, any early movies before the Lucy show, her voice was often dubbed. In most cases, almost always dubbed. But in 1974, when there was an opportunity to do Mame, Lucy wanted that part, and she wanted it bad. So here it is, the studio mogul who owns Desilu Studios, can do anything pretty much that she wants, has said, hey, I want this role. And of course, everybody freaked out in Hollywood and everywhere because they thought, first of all, she's way too old for this role, and she can't sing, she can't dance. But you know what? I didn't care. It was Lucille Ball. So there was a lot of controversy about Lucy taking this role. Now, the biggest controversy about Lucy playing Mame was the decision for them to put this Panaflex lens filter over her face and the special lighting that she had. People have even joked to say that they actually smeared Vaseline or some kind of a petroleum jelly over the lens, and it was like looking through a shower curtain or something like that. But they made a lot of jokes about it. But if you look at the film, you will see how her face is kind of, filtered very nicely to make her appear younger. And that's a little feature that we use right now in social media when people do pictures and photos, and photographers, they clean it up. But a lot of stars would not even go on without that special kind of lens. And so right now, let's just take a little clip and look at the trailer for Lucille Ball in Mame, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it, okay?
Warner Brothers is proud to present Lucille Ball, the most versatile actress of all time. The Lucy that is warm, funny, and glamorous, and the Lucy that is loving, passionate, and spirited. In the multi-million-dollar production that took 2 years to capture on film, that grand musical, Mame.
It's a time for making merry.
Mame is filled with excitement and fun.
Dance to a new rhythm. Whistle a new song.
Mame is a comedy.
Mame, darling. You look awful.
Vera, my old friend.
Mame, I never dated the same man you did.
How about Carlo, the sexy Argentine, the one with all those shoulders?
I never dated Carlo. I married him. I never dated him.
Remember.
B. Arthur, that unforgettable actress who became an instant success as the TV character Maud, is now recreating her role as Vera from the stage show. Mame is a love story, and co-starring with Lucy is Robert Preston as Beauregard.
Are you trying to tell me that I have ever given you reason to be ashamed of me?
You and your crazy friends.
My friends are not crazy. The moment that he needed me, did I ever turn away? Would I be there when he called? If he walked into my life today?
Mame has its tender moments. moments, as well as its cheerful ones.
Need a little laughter, need a little singing, ringing through the rafter, and we need a little snappy, happy ever after. Need a little Christmas now.
Above all, Mame is a musical extravaganza. These are just a few of the musical delights in store for you. Lucy is sensational as she sings and dances her way along as the super special lady, Mame. Mame, the Broadway smash hit that had a spectacular 4-year run, is now brought to the screen. Lucille Ball, America's most unique actress, is supported by an outstanding cast in one of the most entertaining musicals of our time.
That was pretty exciting. I love that show. I've always loved that show. So here we go. So Lucy did the film, as you know. Some of you've seen it. I'm sure some of you may not. It's a nice film. Go and watch it if you haven't seen it. The critics were brutal. They were brutal to Dear Lucy. I mean, Leonard Maltin, the great film critic, he called it the biggest bomb of the year, and a lot of them were just not nice to Lucy, and it really did affect her a lot. So much so that she vowed never to do another film again after that. And she really didn't do another film. She did another TV movie, Stone Pillow, the movie that she played a bag woman. She actually won an Emmy for that movie, for that TV movie. She came back, but it really scarred Lucy. But I look at the film. This is a big budget musical with millions of thousands of dancers, and of course I'm exaggerating, dancers everywhere, and big musical numbers, the gowns, the costumes. And I thought it was a great movie. And I didn't expect Lucy to sing good, if she used her own voice, nor did I expect her to dance well. And she had experienced some things where she had some injuries to her leg and knees from an accident she had. Actually, she had an accident in a Broadway show she did, Wildcat, which was a Broadway show that she was in, and also she got terrible reviews for that. So anytime Lucy did anything music, everybody always came at her. But she's Lucille Ball. It was a great film. Now, B. Arthur has been very vocal about saying after the film that she would never ever, she wished that she had never ever been in that film. It was such a disaster. She hated it. She was even in the film. She reprised her role from the Broadway version with Angela Lansbury, but she did say that she loved working with Lucille Ball. So, what do you think? I mean, do you think that when a Broadway show is factored into going to film, that it always should include the stars of Broadway? And I say, not always, because think about it. We get excited when we go to Broadway and we see that some star has taken over the role of someone that originated the role. And that's kind of the way Broadway works. It starts out with the originals, and then you put in all these guest stars, and you just think, Marilyn Monroe starring in this, or Doris Day in this. Just think about these different artists that wanted to do these musicals. And Lucy was no exception to the rule. I truly enjoyed her performance, and I know that she got a lot of flack from it, but I love Lucy. So, continuing my series on musicals from Broadway that go to movies, I'm going to do one on The Wiz as well, because Diana Ross suffered some of the same kind of criticism about going from a Broadway production to a film production. But if you enjoy the classic movies, I want you to look and read about more of what went behind the scenes, because these people were very, very fantastic entertainers back in the day, and I love the classic stories that are out there. Even though people of color were denied a lot of things in that era, But it still was a great time for us to learn about how the industry changed and it migrated and how it really shaped our lives. We learn a lot about what we find in the movies. So that's where I find myself a lot. So thank you so much for this time today. And if you haven't seen Mame the musical or Anti Mame the movie, check them both out. They're very good films and see what you think. Okay? Have a wonderful day and keep on watching movies. Bye now.